Hello boys and girls, on my desk right now is, well, not a new build, but an old one based on the RampCrab LCG chassis. You might have seen a build video of this truck already. It is the most watched video on my channel, apparently. After I built the Princess Peach rig, I thought about building a second Mario Kart themed truck. More specifically, I want a Bowser truck, and this is an excellent donor for that. The body is made by Yurich Micro RC on Etsy. He named it the Boss Truck, a fitting name for Bowser's vehicle. I get why the original build video is the most watched video, because this is a beautiful body and I happen to have painted it green, well, teal. It's gonna be fairly easy for me to convert it for my Mario Kart collection. This truck is built on the XL version of RampCrab's LCG chassis. RampCrab's chassis kits are extremely good value. I just checked on Amazon right now at $25. I actually thought it was more expensive than that. The kit comes with carbon fiber chassis rails, a flat transmission skid made of brass, these sliders, magnetic body mounts, as well as a full set of suspension linkages, which I'm not using here right now. It's definitely worth checking out. I have 3 trucks built based on RampCrab's chassis. I'll have link to it in the description. Actually, I will have links to everything you see here in the description. The body is designed to attach to the rear bumper support portion here like a hinge, and opens up like a clam. The front of the chassis also has the bumper supports, but I cut them off here. The front is attached using magnets, and to modify it into Bowser's truck, the first thing I'll need is a Bowser figure. I don't even know what this is. I picked it up from a local toy store. It looks like it's made for Lego. I'm just glad it's actually hollow, so I'm not adding too much weight. We're gonna have to cut off the bottom and just leave the top, the upper body, and the arms. But before we begin that surgery, I'm going to design a 3D printed cabin. I don't actually know how to model using CAD. Everything I've designed so far have been made in the Slicer software, and in my case, it's Bamboo Studio. What I do first is I measure the size of the floor, create that in the Slicer, use it as the base to build on top of. Obviously, the cabin needs to have a dashboard, so I purchased a Toyota Hilux dashboard on Coats 3D, imported it, resized it, placed it on the floor. I can also add other interior features like shifter, seats, and whatnot. I won't do that here because although this is a fairly large cabin, the Bowser figure doesn't leave space for much else. Once I have the interior made, I can then figure out how much of Bowser I'll need to cut off. Some people have asked me about this desktop dust box. It's perfect for when I'm sanding, grinding, or cutting and I don't feel like going outside or go to the garage. The dust particles don't get everywhere. They're all contained inside this little box. It comes with a LED light strip and a extractor fan, although I'm not using it. It's available on Amazon. I'll include a link in the description. I had to trim Bowser's hair and horns to get it to fit. It'll be alright, they won't be visible. The adhesive I'm using is E6000. You can buy it with the precision nozzle that you see here. The package actually includes several of them. I'll also include a link in the description. It's the best glue for applications like this, and also great for attaching magnets for your body mounts. I also use it to attach windows and many other things. To fill up the empty space beside Bowser, I've printed a couple of NOS bottles, but it's not nitrous inside them, it's Starman Power Up. I also want a bed for the back of the truck. I do it much the same way, except the base is a triangle. I then imported a diamond plate model I found online, printed it, and then trimmed it so I can get it to sit inside the roll cage. Bowser has many spikes and horns, so I want his truck to look the same. So I downloaded a dry Bowser model, and then I started slicing off the horns from it, resized them to get exactly what I need. I also got a piece of the skull to put on the hood. The white filament I printed them from is too pale and flat, so I used this Tamiya weathering powder to add more realism and depth, and then I started gluing them all over the truck. There are plenty of Koopa shell models online. I found one that I like, shrunk it a little, printed it, and then glued it to the bed. Next, I'm gluing together an exhaust system. I've noticed exhaust is a feature that exists on all vehicles in Mario Karts. Next up, I printed a roll of roof lights, and I added Bowser logo light covers to them. What do you guys think? I think it looks pretty wild. It's giving me a Mad Max vibe. Maybe I should build a Mad Max SCX24 next. Alright, let's bring it over to my scale garage to look at its numbers. Welcome back to my garage. Not much has changed since the last time you were here. I scattered some boxes all over the place. I stocked the shelves a little bit to make the garage look busier. That's about it. I took the body off to measure it by itself. It is about 160 grams. Combined with the rest of the truck, it is sitting at a grand total of 642 grams. Honestly, I'm surprised it's not more. We got 59% of that in the front and 41% in the rear, which is respectable, but I'm afraid a lot of it is up high. Well, let's head outside and see how it crawls. This truck is just so fun to look at. I'm gonna have Bowser compete head-to-head with Princess Peach one of these days. It's gonna be so much fun. Let's go over a few notes. Things I like. I like this RampCrab Cursher Claw steering servo. I don't like the other servos RampCrab offers, but this one I feel works as well as other premium servos. By the way, I changed the servo horn to a red one, so it looks like Bowser's tongue. I also like MEUS's isokinetic axles. You get amazing steering angle from them. Oh yeah, what I'm most surprised by are the DJCrawler silicone tire inserts. By a huge margin, I think these are much better than Injora silicone inserts, for example. I didn't show them in the video, but they are so soft. With Injora inserts, I find myself always having to cut off some supports and sometimes even remove the entire outer ring. With these DJCrawler blue inserts, I didn't do any of that. They're just that pliable. I'm gonna get more of them. Now onto things I don't like. I mentioned earlier I initially built this rig over a year ago. I was naive enough to think this could be my Class 2 comp truck. I've completed a few comp builds since then. Coming back to this truck, I realize how inadequate this is. It gives me an opportunity to see how much I've learned over the past year. I'm sure made even worse by the heavy interior and driver I added. this rig can't nearly compete with the MEUS cheat code and Venge gatekeeper builds you may have seen on my channel, despite they all have the same axles, wheelbase, and tire size. Weight of the body is one big reason, but even more has to do with the chassis designs and link designs. The most frequent issue I experience with this rig is it gets caught up on the belly a lot. The RampCrab chassis is no doubt extremely good value, but at only 7 degrees skid angle, it has a large surface area on the bottom to get caught onto. The 15 to 17 degrees on the cheat code and gatekeeper keep more of the belly tucked up and out of the way. Those with higher forward skid angle allows additional clearance when running double bend rear links. That's another area where I find a lot of contact with the rocks. Lastly, the shocks. Now, I remember belly dragger setup with the shocks always fully collapsed was all the rage back then. Sure, it does help when you got a heavy body and keeps the center of gravity low at all times. I feel it doesn't work as well when you are dealing with more technical courses, when you are crawling at more extreme angles, which is why on my comp builds these days, I avoid setting up my shocks like that. Sometimes I want my shocks to push the axles down to keep the tires in contact with the ground. Mind you, this is just the opinion of someone who doesn't know all that much. I'm not an expert in suspension setup. I'm just someone with quite a few of these little trucks. But hey, we all know this truck is not about performance. Well, not anymore, I guess. This is just a fun build to go along with my Princess Peach truck. If you haven't seen the build video of Peach, I'll link to it at the end of this video. Now I think my next one is going to be a more performance-oriented rig. Hopefully you'll tune in for that. Please like and subscribe, it really helps me out. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.